There are people who said, oh, Bukhari has quoted Zaif Hadith. Are there any Zaif Hadith in Bukhari? In this book, Sahih Bukhari. Are there any Zaif Hadith? Who says no, raise your hand. No Zaif Hadith. Not a single in this book I'm carrying. Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Who says there are Zaif Hadith? Raise your hand. Full or down? No half. He is a friend from Jamiatul Imam. In this particular volume, just a couple of minutes back, I said there are no Zaif Hadith in Bukhari. Now I'm saying, is there? It's contradictory. There are in this book. Bukhari had a style that when he tied the bab, when he wrote the preface of every collection, there's a kitab of wudu, kitab of salah, kitab of many. He tied a bab. Bab means he's opening the chapter with. Bab means door, but in English, your door doesn't match when he starts the chapter. His main compilation is different in the body. But before he used the preface and used certain hadiths which was zaif. He knew it was zaif. For example, this hadith was narrated by Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu. He knows, for example, the people of Medina, if it's Ibn Abbas, khalas, they will believe in it. But down the line, the narrators in it may be zaif. He knows that. So hadith per se is zaif because Ibn Abbas is Sahaba, we agree with it. But the third, fourth narrators are not right. May not be sikha, may not be truthful. So according to hadith is zaif, but he mentioned that why? Because some people have that. Ibn Abbas is there in the chain of narrator, khalas, I'm going to follow it. Not checking the other. So he purposely used certain hadiths which was zaif, but not in his main body. In the book it is there, but in the Jamia, in the main body it's not there, it is there only in the bab. It's only there in the preface. Knowing very well, it is not a sahih hadith, because he wanted to get other people to follow that. So he quotes the hadith, which is not sahih according to his criteria. It is not even sahih according to other people's criteria, but comes into the preface. If preface is the right word to use. Do you understand? It is just to give you. Just can I get the microphone? There. Last row.
You mean the one he uses without the sanad?
Yes.
Only the
bab,
text, only
yes.
bab.
In the preface, That's not part of the...
That's not a part of the hadith.
If you see the Sahih Bukhari, everything is the sanad.
The one he does not number.
Yes, correct. The one which will not come in 7,275. Now here it differs 1 or 2 here. It will not come in 7,275 or 7,563. It's not numbered, you're right. It comes in the bab, but comes in chapter. So if you say, I'm quoting Sahih Bukhari, volume number 7, book of dress, chapter number 80. So in the chapter, it starts with the hadith which is not numbered, but in the numbering, everything is sahih. So you should have knowledge. So as a dai, if you know these things which are very critical, when someone may pose a question to you, may ask. So you should know it is from Bukhari. But there are scholars who have got together and said, even though the hadith is zaif, it becomes sahih by, there is a thing like called as chain of narrators, locking, interlocking. Let's not go into details. We can spend only years talking only about hadith. This is not a session of knowledge. But you should have certain things which are important to know. So in the classification of Sahih Hadith, Bukhari had his criteria which were additional to the 5 normal criteria. But the criteria of Bukhari was the strictest. Imam Muslim was less strict, but there were certain criteria of Imam Muslim which is not there in Bukhari. So according to the Muhaddithin, the best amongst all the Sahih Hadith is the Muttafiq Alayh. Muttafiq Alayh means it is appearing in Bukhari and Muslim both. We have the Lulu al-Marjan. There's a compilation in English, it's in 2 volumes. In Arabic, it's called as Lulu al-Marjan. And Muttafiq Alayh means it's following the basic 5 criteria of Sahih Hadith. Also following criteria of Bukhari, also Muslim. So, maximum tested is the highest, Muttafiq Alayh. Then comes the Hadith which comes in Bukhari, Sahih Bukhari. Then which comes, 3rd category, Sahih Muslim. 4th category of Sahih Hadith is, the Muhaddithin, they say, that Imam Bukhari only analyzed 6 lakh hadith. And there are much more than that. So this hadith didn't reach him. Now we are analyzing the hadith based on the criteria of Bukhari. Other scholars said Imam Muslim did not get this hadith. We are analyzing on the criteria of Imam Muslim. So 4th category is the hadith not compiled by Bukhari and Muslim, but fulfills the criteria of muttafiq alayh, comes as category 4. Category 5, the hadiths which were not analyzed by Imam Bukhari but by other scholars, but fulfill the criteria of Imam Bukhari, that comes as category 5. Category 6 is the hadith that was not analyzed by Imam Muslim, but analyzed by other scholars on the criteria of Imam Muslim, category 6. Then the 7th category is Sahih hadith, only following the criteria of Sahih, but with a continuous chain. 8th category is only Sahih hadith with interlocking chain. Interlocking chain means two hadiths are there and there is some problem in the chain of narration, but with interlocking with two different hadith, it gets interlocked and becomes a Sahih hadith. That's category number 8. Category number 9 is the Hasan hadith. Hasan means fulfilling all the criteria. There's a minor thing which yet it comes into the accepted hadith. It's called as Hasan with a continuous chain. The 10th category is the hadith which is Hasan but with the interlocking chain. So in hadith of accepted, hadith is again classified into 10 categories. There are different categories of classification, many. Let's not go into what's the mutawatir hadith and what is a, this is not a session of hadith. So in the books of hadith, the most authentic and that should be referred is Bukhari, which is 9 volumes. But Imam Bukhari only compiled that which is Sahih according to his criteria. Now in Bukhari, in 7,275 or 7,563 hadith, there are many which are common. Common means the matter is the same, the chain of narration is different. If I say something, the Kamruddin will go and tell what Zakir Naik spoke today. Farik may say to his friend something else. Brother Ibrahim may say something else. I am saying the same thing, but it will be, who said? Brother Ibrahim's friend told that Ibrahim said, that Zakir said. Farik, it will be Abdul, who's a friend of Farik, told that Farik said, that Zakir said so and so. Muhammad, who's a friend of Kamruddin, told that Kamruddin said, that Zakir said. The matter is the same, but chains are 3 different. Now, Brother Kamruddin's friend is a good in memory, but Brother Farik's friend is weak. So if you hear that Abdul told that Farik said, that Zakir said so and so, Abdul is weak, hadith becomes zaif. You understand? Maybe your friend is very good, a narrator. Hadith becomes 2. That Ibrahim's friend told to him that Ibrahim said and Zakir said. So it becomes 2 different hadith, but the matter is the same. Correct? So now, what they have done, they have removed the duplicate and they have come up with a summarized version which has about 2,230 hadith. It keeps on changing. So these numbers are approximate because in every publisher, he has his own way of codification. So therefore, when we give references of hadith, you should also know which publisher am I referring to. But Darus Salam is one of the most famous publishers for English books, for authentic books. Alhamdulillah. So there's a summarized version of Sahih Bukhari. Then we have the Sahih Muslim. Sahih Muslim, again, it's the second most authentic compilation. And this particular book, in English translation, comes in 4 volumes. Different publishers may have different volumes, so please don't get stuck to that. In Urdu, it's different. In English, it's different. Again, there's a summarized version of Sahih Muslim, done by Darus Salam in 2 volumes. After Sahih Muslim, there's again a summarized version done by another group of scholars, Dr. Ahmad Zidan and Mrs. Dina Zidan. But the one of Darus Salam is far superior. This is Mukhtasar Sahih al-Bukhari. This is Mukhtasar Sahih Muslim, done by Dr. Ahmad Zidan and Mrs. Dina Zidan. Amongst the translations, I prefer the one which is better by Darus Salam. The translation, 9 volumes, even the summarized one. You have the third set of books in the Qutub al-Sitta, not Siyah Sitta, Qutub al-Sitta, is Sunan Abu Dawud. Again, this is compiled by Imam Hafiz Abu Dawud Sulaiman bin Ashad, that's the full name. And again, this also comes in 5 volumes. Some of the publishers have 6 volumes of Abu Dawud. Darus Salam has got 5 volumes of Abu Dawud. Then you have the Tirmidhi, Jamia Tirmidhi. You have Bukhari, Muslim, then Abu Dawud, then Tirmidhi. Then you have, this is Sunan an-Nisai, the 5th in the book of Qutub al-Sitta. Then you have Ibn Majah. Sunan Ibn Majah is the 6th book in the Qutub al-Sitta. Some scholars, instead of Sunan Ibn Majah, they use Imam Muwatta Malik. That's also a very good book, authentic. This is Al-Muwatta Malik. So these are mainly the Kutub al-Sitta. I have mentioned 7. If you read these 7, you get majority of most of the rulings of fiqh, etc. So if a student of knowledge uses the 6, that means, yes, you have read the most important hadith.
Muhammadun Rasulullah, Muhammadun Rasulullah. أرجو رضاك يا الله أنت الرحيم يا الله هبني عطاك يا الله أنت الكريم منك العطاء يا الله أنت العظيم يا الله فيك الرجاء يا الله أنت الحليم الرحمن الستار ملك الملك الغفار الوهاب المنان المتعال الرحمن الستار ملك الملك الغفار الوهاب المنان المتعال الرحمن الستار ملك الملك الغفار الوهاب المنان